From Buckhorn, he's from Tampa.
You know, one of the good things about being a lame duck is I won't have to deal with him anymore. But I can't say anything bad about him because his mom's sitting right there. So I love your son. He is an amazing guy. First of all, thank you to my friends of decades, Mayor Cretekos and Mayor Kriseman. Thank you for allowing me to cross the bay. I did not require a visa. There was no wall. And I was welcomed with open arms, even though I am Irish. It is a good thing. And I will tell you that, as many of you know, I am termed out. And we'll be leaving office on May the 1st when they pry my cold dead fingers off the desk. But I have thoroughly enjoyed working with these two gentlemen. You're going to hear that consistently throughout all their comments, I would suspect. The relationship between the partners in the Bay Area has never been stronger. It has never been better. The days of us fighting about, the same parochial petty issues that we once did are over. Never to be resurrected again, I hope, irrespective of who serves in any of our offices. I think the tone and the tenor of this relationship and this discussion that we have on a regular basis is that we are better together, that we are stronger together, that we are more competitive together, and that we will continue to grow together, maximizing the advantage of each of our communities. Each of us have things that the others yearn for. Each of us benefit from the success of each other. All of our communities will rise together, and as Mayor Kriseman and Mayor Cretekos and I have done, marketing the Bay Area to the world, the days of us fighting about bridges and institutions are over. Buried, dead. Do not let anybody run for office in Pinellas County that would advocate anything other than a stronger relationship with our partners in the Bay Area is a good thing for all of us. Now, all of that being said, Tampa's in the midst of an amazing transformation, like all of our cities. It has risen from the ashes of the worst recession since the Great Depression to be one of those places in America that the best and the brightest want to come and be. There is a buzz that is palpable about the Bay Area, and certainly in my city. You can see it, you can sense it, you can feel it when you walk around. The completion of the Riverwalk was probably one of the most important events that has occurred in our community. That was 6 mayors and 40 years in the making. It is a different city than what it was 8 years ago when I was lucky enough to be elected mayor. Obviously, we have a mayor's election going on right now. There will be a new candidate chosen on May the 1st. The next time you see me, I may be your Uber driver. So make sure you check those 5 stars when I pick you up. But it's an exciting time for all of us. I mean, the renaissance of this region and where we find ourselves positioned now, not having to ask anybody's permission anymore. We are in those debates and in those discussions for virtually every corporate relocation that is being looked at around the country. The Bay Area, and certainly the city that I represent, is on the verge of something special. I mean, we are in the midst of a unique opportunity, an opening in our development that we have never seen before. And I've been doing this since 1987. This is a special time for us. And so as a Tampanian, I couldn't be prouder about what our opportunities are. I mean, you think about the $3 billion that Jeff Vinnick and Bill Gates are about to invest in the Channelside area and the Water Street development. You think about the medical school, the USF Medical School that has moved into downtown Tampa. Do you know that the application for the USF Medical School surpassed every medical school in the state of Florida? And you think about what that will do in terms of our ability to attract talent and researchers and students, attract companies who want to come and be around the research that takes place. The building that is being constructed is topped out and probably will be open in another year or so. Mr. Vinnick has a number of projects that are breaking ground and coming out of the ground as we speak. The Riverwalk has been activated. Our downtown core is bustling. Young people are flocking into Tampa and into the Bay Area, and that is a good thing. 8 years ago, I ran and I said I wasn't going to lose my kids to Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, I took a few liberties because my oldest one was only 6 at the time. She wasn't going anywhere. But I think all of us have experienced, whether it's our kids or grandkids, our best and brightest, our talent, that we were exporting to other cities. We were a donor community to other rising, particularly technology-driven Sunbelt communities. We populated Charlotte and Nashville and Austin and Raleigh-Durham and Atlanta. Those days are over. These young people that you see here, and thousands more like them, are choosing to live here because they believe a couple things. One, that there is opportunity here. Two, that this community, and certainly Tampa's best chapter, has yet to be written. That we're on the verge of something really, really special. And if we continue to do what we set out to do, if we continue this narrative, I promise you this. 10 years from now, south of Atlanta, the Tampa Bay region will be the economic engine that drives the entire southeast United States. That is what our future is if we continue to work together, continue to grow together, continue to support each other, never divide anybody, celebrate the amazing diversity of this place that we call the Tampa Bay region, never demonize anybody based on their race or creed or color or ethnicity or the God they worship or who they love or how they got here or the language that they speak. We are better and more competitive because we look like the world. Don't ever let them divide us. Either based on the bridges, or based on the color of your skin, or the God you worship, or who you love. Don't ever do it. This is our time. This is where we stand up and say to the world, this is the Tampa Bay region's time. And I promise you, I may be your Uber driver, but I'll be your biggest cheerleader. Thank you.
Mayor Buckhorn originally wrote that as gubernatorial inaugural. Next up, Mayor Cretekos from Clearwater.
It's tough to follow Bob Buckhorn. What he did tell you about his daughter that was 6, though, is she may not be going to Charlotte, but she's going to Penn State. You know, the mayor is right. We're truly blessed to live in the Clearwater Bay area. Because we tend to forget. You know, I'm a native from Tarpon Springs, and I've seen US 19 as a 2-lane road that would take us a half hour to get from Mom and Dad's to Wolfie's on 34th Street. It takes us a half hour now to go through 2 stoplights. And that is a problem that we have, and I think we need to thank Mayor Buckhorn and Hillsborough County for what they recently did in the last election. Because transportation is vital for all of us. And without it, I'm not going to ride a bicycle 10 miles to work. Okay? And I doubt any of you, well, maybe 1 or 2 of you. But we need to have those kinds of options. And it's incumbent upon us to make sure that if we want this area to grow and to prosper and to continue to be that special place, we in Pinellas County need to follow Clearwater Bay's lead again. Because that's the only way we're going to be able to succeed. We have some things going on in Clearwater that some of my colleagues and some of my citizens get upset about, Mayor Buckhorn, because I remind them that Riverwalk did take 40 years and 8 mayors. We're on our first mayor and the 2nd year of Imagine Clearwater. And it's not done yet. Well, It's not. But Tampa took a while. St. Petersburg, no offense, Mayor Kriseman, but you know, I look at your peer, you're at 10 years, right? So y'all come up to Clearwater and tell them that be patient. It will get done. And when it gets done, it's going to do something to Clearwater that will make our downtown everybody's second neighborhood. And I see Sean Schrader over here, who when I first, Mayor Buckhorn said, what, 1989?
I started.
Yeah, 87. I started in 1970. Some of y'all probably say, he's got to go. But I see Sean Schrader over here, who when I first ran for city council, he was one of the kids who would go out and hold a sign for George Cretekos. And to be able to see him grow up now, and he was just named to our charter review committee, gives us hope and lets us know that we will keep our young people here in Pinellas, in the Tampa Bay area, and we will succeed. And those of us like Norm here, and I probably go back to 1970, you know, will be able to look back and say, well done. And I know that Mayor Kriseman, he's working very hard to make sure that that pier does succeed. And look at what has accomplished in St. Petersburg and Tampa. And we're going to get there in Clearwater. We have Dr. Patel is building a new osteopathic medical hospital and college on the east part of, on the west part of the Courtney Campbell Causeway, on the east part of Clearwater. We say in Clearwater we're bright and beautiful from the bay to the beach, and we really are. And we appreciate the support that the entire Tampa Bay area does to promote not only Clearwater, not only St. Petersburg, not only Tampa, but places like Tarpon Springs and Gulfport and Safety Harbor, and all those special little communities that we have that make this area very special. I was going to say great, but I decided just very special, because we are very fortunate to be able to be here. Thank you for letting me speak. Thank you for inviting me back. And, you know, this is Mayor Bob's last time with each one of us. I hope that y'all will appreciate what he has done for the Tampa Bay area, directly and indirectly, because his successor's got some really big shoes to fill. And Mayor Kriseman and I are going to hold that person to the same standard that Mayor Buckhorn has set for each one of us. Thank you very much.
Those were the comedy stylings of Shecky Cretekos. Next up, giving his debut stump speech for the 2022 gubernatorial nomination, Mayor Kriseman from St. Petersburg.
Good afternoon, Tigers. I have to tell you, I am relieved that we were not being served cold fast food today. And on that note, let me, in all seriousness, let me get this out of the way right away. What President Trump is doing to our country, to our military, to the hardworking government employees and contractors, and all the ancillary people that are directly impacted by what's happening in the government, it's really unconscionable. Mayors, we don't have a choice but to run our cities. We don't get to hold people hostage and shut things down. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we put people before we talk about petty politics. So I think we all need to call on all Americans, Floridians, Republicans, Democrats, everyone to put pressure on this president to get America working again. Okay, out of the way now. I want to tell you all that it's been an honor for me to be able to attend events like this since I took office with my longtime friend, Bob Buckhorn. I know Bob and George and I have regular luncheons. We genuinely like each other. We've done a lot of road shows together, and I think I'm speaking to George. I hope I am when I say that we're going to miss having Bob with us. He's leaving Tampa better than he found it, which is what my friend Pam Iorio also did, and that's the way it's supposed to work. So I want to congratulate Bob on a job well done. And Bob, as the old Irish saying goes, don't be talking about yourself while you're here. We'll surely be doing that after you leave. Bob, George, and I, we all root for each other because, as you've heard them both say, we're all in this together. The world has never been more connected, and our region really has never been more connected, and hopefully even more connected someday when we have more ferries and we have trains that are running between all of our communities. Now, Bob's a short timer. I still have 3 years left, and I will tell you all, mass transit will be one of my primary focuses. Our population growth in St. Petersburg it's outpacing the county, nearly 4% growth in the last 4 years. So St. Petersburg is growing, and we really need to do a better job of getting people around our city, our county, and our region. And that means looking at all different options, whether it's BRT, complete streets, bike share, e-scooters, autonomous vehicles, elevated aerial transit rail. We've got to look at everything. And we're growing in part because of the environment that I think we've all created. And St. Petersburg simply has a great quality of life. We're a city of diversity. We're a city of tolerance. We're a city of arts and culture, exciting professional sports, incredible parks and unspoiled waterfronts. And we're a city whose doors are open for business. Our economic strategy called Grow Smarter is working. Our unemployment rate is lower than the regions, the states, and the countries. And we're proving that you can be progressive and pro-growth business friendly. And I think 2019 will be our best year yet. We started off the year with a bang, having received the award from Bloomberg Philanthropies. And there are so many exciting things on the horizon. A new PD station, and yes, a pier. It will be substantially completed this year, and we'll be kicking off our 2050 vision. What's happening in the Tampa Bay area right now really is quite remarkable. For those of us who've lived here for most, if not all of our lives, I don't know that we've ever seen anything like this. And I can't agree with Bob more in that I still think the best days for Clearwater, for Tampa, and for St. Petersburg are still in front of us. And I look forward to the time I get to continue to lead up and work with my friend George and whoever follows Bob. And I know that knowing Bob the way I do, he won't be going away. He'll just be doing something different. So I want to thank you all for coming along for the ride, for believing in what the three of us are doing, and for having the three of us here with you all today. So thank you all.
And I guess the format here is we'll just call people up to call them up to the microphone?
No.
Or do we pass this around?
We have some.
So I mean, for these guys?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm going to basically get out of the way, but I'll start this off. You've heard a lot of kumbaya talk about regional unity and cooperation. We do have some big issues that are barely below the surface. It's baseball stadium, water, reclaimed water, competition in some cases for tourist tax dollars. So those are some things to keep in mind when you're asking questions. I'll start out very quickly in the spirit of disharmony. In one sentence, and we'll go in reverse order, tell us what one sentence. Bob Buckhorn doesn't sneeze in less than 5 minutes. But we'll do one sentence, why is your city the best city in Tampa Bay?
Yes, of course, I wouldn't be a politician if I didn't give a political answer. You know, I think each of our cities has strengths that are very different from each other, and that's in some ways, I think, what makes our region so powerful when we're all working together, because as we've talked about, and even as we've gone about when we've been out trying to recruit businesses to this area, there are strengths that St. Petersburg has that I get to talk about.
1 sentence.
And if it doesn't work, it'll work in Clearwater or Tampa.
Clearwater is the best city in the Tampa Bay area because if you live in Tampa or St. Petersburg, you have to come to Clearwater for the best beach in the country.
Tampa is the best city because we are so secure in our own identity. We gave you back your baseball team.
I'm wondering, with all of the development and the exciting growth that our community is about to experience and it has experienced, what are we doing to make sure that we have housing available for the people who are working downtown in the communities where these big, huge buildings are going in? And does our infrastructure, is it ready for all of these new people to be in the community? So that's for all of them.
I think infrastructure is very important for all of us, but in Clearwater at least, we're very careful on that. But the real problem, as you identified, Corey, is affordable housing. And when you look at our employees in the city of Clearwater, most of them don't live in Clearwater. And I'm sure that that's true in Tampa and in St. Petersburg also. We, as mayors, are going to have the League of Mayors is coming to Clearwater in February, and we're going to work with Habitat for Humanity to build a house, to again, stress the importance of affordable housing. So while we love the new high-rises and we've gotten in Clearwater to a lot of people's concern, it's important that we also have that type of housing available. But I think from an infrastructure standpoint, we're very careful, at least in Clearwater, to make sure that we can provide for it.
It's a challenge across the country, particularly in growing urban areas where the cost of land in the urban core has gotten to the point where you're talking, $100, $150 a square foot. It's hard to do affordable housing when you're paying that much for land. But I will tell you that as mayors, all of us struggle with this because what you don't want is to price your urban core out of the market, because many of the people that work in the urban core can't afford $2.20 a square foot for rent. But yet they are the ones that drive the economy in the hotels and the restaurants and the service industries and the clerical employees. And they can't afford to live and drive until they can qualify, because transportation costs become onerous for them, and it makes downtown less attractive. I don't know whether the answer is set-asides or whether it is government getting more involved in the affordable housing business, but it is a very, very difficult challenge for mayors all over the country. I'm not sure any of us have found the solution yet, but you got to be cognizant of it, because otherwise you'll end up bleaching your urban core. You'll drive moderate income folks out because they can't afford to live there, and then you just compound the problem.
I'm going to address infrastructure first, and I think, if you look across the country, not just in our three cities, infrastructure is a problem in that it's something that cities across the table have been ignoring for far too long. We've made a commitment between my council and my administration to not do that any longer, and we're investing millions and millions of dollars, and some of you that live in the city have probably seen some of your rates go up. And that's to provide us with the resources to do exactly that, to do the hard work that hasn't been done for far too long. As far as housing affordability, and I say it that way as opposed to affordable housing, because I think you can ask 5 different people about affordable housing, and all of them will define it differently. I'd rather talk about housing affordability, because when we talk about housing affordability, it's at all levels. It's from low-income housing to working class, blue-collar to families, and even for those who may have the ability to pay market rate. And Bob and George are right, it's a challenge that all of us in all of our cities, if your city is thriving, you are facing issues of affordability. You're going to hear probably a lot of questions, or at least discussion from us about transit and transportation. And I mention it right now because it is a housing affordability issue. Because for a lot of folks, if they are working in your downtown, they can't afford to live in downtown, and if they don't own a car, then they probably aren't going to be working in your downtown very long, because they don't have the resources. They need to be able to live somewhere else, possibly in the city where it is more affordable, and have good mass transit that helps them get there. We are looking at St. Pete at a whole menu of different options of things that we can try and implement. I don't think there's a silver bullet or one policy idea is going to fix the problem. It's going to be a combination of different things. I think the city governments are going to have to some degree get into the land purchasing business, because land is at a premium. There's not a lot of it. Certainly in my city there isn't. And that's one of the major cost drivers of the cost of housing. Beat you.
No, go ahead.
Deb Mascaro, I'm a brand new member. So, I think it was Mayor Kriseman said water, water, water. And my question is, in 80 years, we're going to have a huge intrusion of water, and there won't be any place to build that affordable housing. So would each of you address climate change and what you can do if the rest is a global issue?
Great question, and kudos to Mayor Kriseman for leading the way on this issue. He was out front early. He's been aggressive about it. All of you that live here saw that he was just awarded a Bloomberg grant because of his efforts to do that. It's real. Whether it's man-made or naturally occurring, I tend to think it's the former, not the latter. It is something that municipalities are going to have to deal with, particularly in low-lying areas. We have to find a way to harden our infrastructure. We have to find a way to reduce our carbon footprint. In all of our cities, we are doing all of that. Tampa's topography lends itself to street-level flooding because we're low and we're right on the bay. But the challenges of climate change are real. And if we choose not to do anything, or we choose to ignore it, or choose to not even say it, like some levels of government, we do so at our own peril, because it is real. We are embarking on, as a result of a stormwater assessment that we placed on people's properties, probably close to $300 million investment in our infrastructure system, particularly stormwater system. We've gone in and basically rotor-rooted all of our existing pipes. We literally had 60-inch pipes, 5 feet tall. They sent me a picture of it that had this much clearance left in it, because of all the debris and the mussels and everything that had been growing in those pipes, because cities, all of us, have not had the dedicated revenue source to be able to do much about infrastructure other than duct tape it. We now have that revenue source. We're spending $275 million to expand our capacity. Again, hardening our infrastructure. Building codes have to be adapted like they were after Hurricane Andrew, so buildings are elevated. People are going to continue to move to the state of Florida. They want to live on the water. We have to find a way to accommodate that while at the same time hardening the targets and making our cities a little bit less susceptible to climate change.
Well, St. Petersburg is a peninsula on a peninsula. We are really ground zero for sea level rise and the impacts of climate change. And so we have to be aggressive. I wasn't in office long before I executed an executive order committing the city to become 100% renewable. My director of sustainability and resilience is leading the